All right, the locker room.
This is the reason why even the kids
We got to get this update going on with the actual playoffs, man. We are in the playoffs. It's going down like they got whales in the boat, man. I'm just trying to figure out what's gonna happen. We got live updates of upsets going on here in the locker room. Hold up, guys. Let me get this stream posted. Hold up, give me a second. Gotta get this thing going. This is crazy. This is bananas mayhem of what's happening here in the locker room. The locker room, guys. This is wow. All right. So far, we have one game left in the first round of the locker room CFP playoff year 4. We waiting on Auburn and Georgia, which is DC, and Christopher playing later tonight to go ahead on and see who advanced to the second round. To play Clemson, to play Florida, to play LSU, to play Oregon. Alright, let's jump into it. We got the recap, guys. Once again, we are here at the Locker Room News Update. We're going to look at Baylor, which was Lamont versus John Joseph. Lamont had him on the stats on the boards, first downs, total yards. I guess he got behind. And pretty much looked like he got shut out in the fourth quarter. That's where the game took a turn, man. Let's look at some of these stats. So when you look at the first downs, Lamont had 16, John had 14. Lamont had 316 yards of total offense. John was able to control it with 260 yards of our total offense. Lamont had 47 plays. John had 39. Yards per play was 6.7 on the average. They both averaged out about the same. Rushing yards versus TDs. Looked like Lamont was only able to have, 15 rushes for 80 yards, no touchdowns, whereas John was able to have 23 touches for 91 yards and 2 touchdowns. And they was averaging about 5.3 yards a carry for Lamont and 4.4 yards a carry for John. Looking at the conversions, man, that's what really matters. In this game, Baylor was 71% on third down, and John was 77%. Fourth down conversions, Baylor was 100%. John didn't have to go for it on fourth down. And when we look at red zone, Lamont actually, when he got in the red zone, he scored, so he was 100%. John wound up being 75%. The turnover battles, I see this is what lost the game. Lamont had 3. Michigan had 0 turnovers. And time of possession, I would look at, whereas Michigan was able to control the clock, control the ball, and finish with 10 minutes and 49 seconds of ball control, where Baylor had the scuffle with 9 minutes and 11 seconds, which was not that much of a difference. Some key players or some key components of the game. Let's look at the stats. We got Dan Mahan. Quarterback QBR rating was a 110.6 QBR rating. Kid had 2 touchdowns, 236 yards in the air, 3 interceptions. I think that's what hurt the ball game and put him behind. His longest pass was 43 yards. He had 15 completions on 32 attempts, making his completion rate a 46%. This right here is an All-American. Hopefully he stays. I want to say this kid is maybe a junior, so hopefully he stay and be able to come back to Baylor, and hopefully they can do it again next year, or he may go to the league. Let's see. Rushing the ball. This is where Lamont struggled at. Tyshawn King, kid had 9 carries for 38 yards, no touchdowns. And then Dan Mahan was right behind him with 4 touches for 38 yards. And then when you look at the receivers, you got Mike Bostic. He had 5 receptions for 73 yards, 1 touchdown. Cam Adam Parker, he had 3 receptions, 59 yards, no touchdowns. Then we had Joseph Damania, that's Damania. Yeah, he had 2 receptions, 35 yards, and 1 touchdown. Flipping over to the stats of Michigan, look at the QBs. We got Bryce Underwood. He had a 211.2 QBR rating. He had 169 yards in the air, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. That's definitely good playoff football right there. He was 13 for 16, 81% on the completion passes, and his longest was 30 yards. Had a couple people touching the ball. We had Corey Smith. He had 2 touches for 36 yards, 1 touchdown. And we had Matthew Outen. He had 13 touches, 34 yards, 1 carry. 1 touchdown. So that was pretty good. Receiving, looked like his go-to guy was Matthew Outen, running back. He had 55 yards, 1 touchdown. And we had Xavier Jordan with 3 receptions, 42 yards, no touchdowns. And then we had, looked like Lincoln Cure. He had 3 receptions, 28 yards, 1 touchdown, 5 receptions. So, that kind of speaks volume. Defensively, Michigan, top leaders that night, we would say was Nathan Osawa Boateng. Kid had 1 solo tackle, 5 assists, 1 TFL, 1 interception. We had Josiah Edmond. He was behind him with 5 tackles. He had 4 solos. And yeah, that was pretty much it. Any key interceptions? Oh yeah, you had Jaden Sanders, the strong safety. Kid's All-American. He had 1 solo tackle, but he had 2 big-time interceptions. And looked like Nathaniel also had 2 interceptions. So yeah, that secondary, that defense is nice out there in Michigan. I think this is what allowed them to pretty much dominate that game. All right, let's go over here and look at what a nail biter. Washington escapes by Texas by 1 point. Wow, this is crazy. This is crazy. This is what college football is about right here. Let's look at the tail of the tape. Okay. Washington had 18 first downs. Brian Trey had 9. Total offense, TJ had 320 yards. Brian Trey had 278 yards. TJ had 45 total plays. And Brian Trey had 29. Holding right here. In the first quarter, the score was tied 0-0. Then it became a 3-point deficit between Washington and Texas in the second. Third quarter, Texas wound up tying it, and then Washington went for the win in fourth quarter to take the game. Wow, this is a hell of a game. Looking at it, getting into the actual breakdown of the downs that matter, money downs. Washington struggled at 14%, 1 for 7. That's not good football. It's going to be hard for them to win in the playoffs deep if they can't get that corrected. Brian Trey, you went 57% on third down, which was better, but it still wasn't enough at the end. 4th down conversions. He was 100% TJ. It's still a gamble because if you don't convert, you turn the ball over, maybe put your team in a bad position. And looked like Brian Trey was 0% on 4th down. And, of course, TJ went for the 2 to win the game. That was pretty crazy. Red zone percentages. TJ was 50%. Brian Trey was 66%. You struggling, TJ. You struggling. You need to score more in the red zone. Have a higher percentage. Definitely being in the playoffs. But, hey, you advanced. You here. You know what you're doing. Total yards between each team looked like Brian Trey had 297. TJ had 327 yards. Time of possession really wasn't that much of a difference. Brian Trey had it for 10 minutes. TJ had it for 9 minutes and 41 seconds. Let's look at both of these guys together. Hold on. Oh, I can't see both. Okay. So starting with Texas, Brian Trey, he had Ty Hawkins, quarterback. He had 183 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. He went 6 for 7. Then he had All-American Austin Carlisle. He had looked like a 20-yard pass, and he went 2 for 5. And Ty went 6 for 7. Rushing yards, Austin had 7 carries for 53 yards, 1 touchdown. And Rodney Fields Jr. had 9 carries, 14 yards, no touchdowns. Receiving, we got Jamie French. Wow. The kid had 3 receptions for 131 yards, 1 touchdown. That boy got off. That boy got off for real. David Gayton, he had 2 receptions, 44 yards, 0 touchdowns. And that was pretty much it for Texas. Washington, looking at it, tail of the tape, All-American Demond Williams Jr. Kid had 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 300 yards in the air. He was sacked 4 times though. He went 23 for 29, 79% completion rating. Demond Williams Jr., which was the quarterback, he had the most yards rushing. He had 10 carries for 22 yards, 1 touchdown as well. And then Jordan Washington had 1 touchdown off of how many carries? Oh no, he had 3 carries, 1 yard, no touchdown. Receiving the ball looked like Marcus Harris, which is the All-American, had 7 receptions, 111 yards. Behind him, you had Adoric Harris. He had 7 receptions, 64 yards, no touchdowns. And then we had Buck Keenan, who had 4 receptions, 50 yards, 1 touchdown. So that was the tight end. Defensively, who stood out? Yeah, Rashawn Clark. Looked like he was the leader. Let's see. Yeah, Rashawn was the leader. He had 3 assists, 3 solo, no interceptions, 2 TFLs, and have no interceptions. Let's see about forced fumbles. Let's see if anybody forced fumbles. Forced fumbles either. Cool. All right, moving on. And the upset, number 11, California, Mr. Weber, upset William Harris, aka a defending champion. 42-36. Wow, this was a game. Let's look at this, man. This is crazy. This is crazy. Let's look at the box. The box said that in the first quarter they went into a tie 7-7. Second quarter it was 14-7. Third quarter, Indiana went up 14. Had 14 unanswered. Then Cal just outscored them in the fourth, 15-8. And then they went into overtime, and that's where Cal won the game. Wow. Looking at the score, and then 43-36. Let's see how we got there. Cal had 27 first downs. Williams struggled with 15. LaDante, he had 461 yards of total offense, total plays. LaDante had 72 total plays. William had 32. That's crazy. The yards per average, William had 11.1. Rushes, looked like LaDante was running the ball. He had 33 rushes, 117 yards total, 2 touchdowns. William looked like he had 8 touches, 39 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And they both averaged about, William averaged about 5 yards per rush, whereas LaDante had 3.5. Looking at the tail of the tape, the third downs, percentages. Dante was 60%. William was 66%. Fourth down conversions, Dante was 60%. William didn't go for it at all on fourth down, and they both was 100% on 2-point conversions. Red zone TDs, LaDante was 57%. William was 50%. William had 5 turnovers that hurt. LaDante only had 1. 5 interceptions, 1 interception. And the total amount of yards, LaDante had 461. William had 423. Time of possession, William had the ball for 6 minutes and 11 seconds. And LaDante had it for 13 minutes and 49 seconds. All right, looking at the tail of the tape. All right. Kamario Taylor for William Harris and the Indiana Hoosiers. He had 315 yards in the air, 1 touchdown, 5 interceptions. 68 was his longest. He went 15 for 24, 62% completion rate. To say he had 5 interceptions, they should have got blown out. So I don't know, man. I don't know what was going on with Indiana. Rushing the ball, yeah, Kamario Taylor, the quarterback, had 8 rushes, 39 yards, 3 TDs on the ground as well. 1 broken tackle, and as long as it was 14 yards. Throwing the ball in the air, he had Corey Smith, star receiver, had 164 yards off of 6 receptions, no touchdowns. And his rack was 75 yards. His longest was 68. Jaden Elder, he had 4 receptions, 70 yards, 1 touchdown, and 47 yards run after the catch. His longest was 15. And he had Caleb Pickett with 2 receptions, 34 yards, and his run after catch was 1 yard, and his longest was 28 yards. So this wasn't enough to beat Cal. Let's look at the stats of Cal as we do a deep dive. Matthew Leone, that's his name, Matthew Leone. He had 174.4 QBR rating. Kid had 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, threw that thing, had 341 yards in the air. He went 28 for 37, 75% completion rate. Looking at the run game, that's the thing. Cal was toting that pill. He had Shaq Gossett. Kid had 73 yards total, 2 touchdowns, 4 broke tackles. His longest was 12 yards. Then he had Devin Rice. He had 44 yards, 2 broke tackles, and his longest was 14 yards. In the air, he had Dylan Gresham, 149 yards off of 11 receptions. 79 yards was his rack, 39 was his longest. Then he had Jordan Malula. He had 5 receptions on 65 yards, 1 touchdown, 16 was his rack, and 24 yards was his longest. Then he had Davon Rice, 4 receptions, 46 yards, 1 touchdown, and his longest was 25 yards. And then another key touchdown came from Myers Sweeney, the tight end. He had 3 receptions, 29 yards, 1 touchdown, 12 yards was his longest. Looking at the defense for the Cal Bears, you had Rodney Patuite. Looked like he had 4 tackles, 1 interception. Then you had Easy Ansanzu. Kid looked like he had 3 tackles in total, 1 interception as well. Then we had Jayon Young, kid cornerback. He had 2 tackles, 2 interceptions. And he had 20 yards returned. Back, did we have any forced fumbles? No forced fumbles. All right, man. So Cal said that they here to stay. Only got 1 game here left on the locker room. We waiting for DC and Christopher the kickoff coming to y'all soon. This is your man Freestyle from the locker room. Y'all stay tuned, y'all. More to come.